Aquaman. I actually saw Aquaman on Saturday, but I'm coming out with a review today. I decided to get my notes together, really think about the movie, and we're going to dive on in a non-spoiler review for the movie, just like Into the Spider-Verse, which I did a couple of days ago. So, here we go. Aquaman was directed by James Wan, and for the first time, the superhero is brought to the big screen. And, well, not really for the first time, if you want to consider Justice League, but this is the first time he gets his own solo film, if that makes any sense. Aquaman was known as a joke character for a while. You know, talks to fish. And that's why for a while, he was really known as a joke character. But in this movie, it made him seem really cool and made him seem like a very valuable member to the Justice League. Now, they're not in this movie because this is Aquaman's movie, but it does make him seem really awesome in this movie. So, the story is about Atlantis, which is being ruled by Aquaman's full-blooded Atlantean brother, King Orm, and they're about to declare war on the surface world. And so what Aquaman has to do is find the trident that his father wielded and become the rightful ruler or heir to the throne. And he's going to become the hero known as Aquaman. That's pretty much what the story is about. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and I like that about the movie. Now, there's not to say that there aren't problems with this movie, and I will talk about those soon, but let me talk about what I like about this movie first. I want to talk about Aquaman. Aquaman was nailed by Jason Momoa. I feel like he really owned his role. He really played more of a conflicted Aquaman, if that makes sense. You know, he's very conflicted on why his mother left him from birth, and he's very conflicted of whether or not he's worthy of being the heir to the throne. So I really do like how they did that with this character. His costume is very comic accurate too. I want to talk about that. In the comics though, it seemed more like fish skins, but in this movie it's like the original costume but more armor looking, and I really do appreciate that they don't make it cheesy. You know, it's not cheesy, and you're able to deal with it. Let's talk about Mira. I feel like Mira's a pretty good character. Mira is Aquaman's love interest. You guys pretty much figure that from the trailers. But her hair, man, her hair is just an atrocity. It just does not fit with her costume at all. It is like really bright red. When it's wet, it looks good, but when it's dry, it just looks bad. And when I saw this movie, someone brought this point to me that it kind of reminds them of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. So I can kind of see that, and it kind of does. Speaking of other characters, let's talk about Black Manta. I really did like him in this film. I thought like he was a very compelling character, definitely more compelling than Ocean Master. I do feel like I would much rather see Black Manta as the main villain in this movie than Ocean Master. Or King Orm, if you want to go by his real name. But personally, I just feel like his suit was very comic accurate as well. Few things changed here and there, but his motivation was very clear. And you can understand why he hates Aquaman so much. In the comics, I was used to him just hating Aquaman. He's, you know, I always want to kill Aquaman. But it didn't really provide a reason why. In this movie, you can understand why he hates him so much and why he wants him dead. And I really do appreciate that about the character. Last but not least, I kind of liked Ocean Master or King Orm. Kinda. I didn't really feel like he was a great villain. He was just not that likable as a villain. I just did not. He seemed like a egotistical yelling jerk in the movie. You know, he's just over here in the stadiums going, "Ah!" You know, and it's just like all he did was really yell, and they didn't really give him a lot of depth. I feel like they spent more time giving Black Manta more depth when he's barely in the movie. He was in the movie here and there, but he got more depth than Ocean Master, and I just feel like that's kind of unusual since Ocean Master is supposed to be the main villain. He should get more character development, but he didn't, and I feel like that's very disappointing. I will say the visuals are very stunning. I feel like that's really the selling point of this movie. The visuals just look great. The CGI team did great. A lot of stuff is CG, but you can't really have an Aquaman movie without it. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't look as good as this. But this it was very visually stunning. The fight scenes were also really good. I feel like the fights were intense, well choreographed, and they gave a lot of depth to the fight scenes with the CG, and it just mixed well together. The costumes are really good on all the characters except Mira and Aquaman's mom. Aquaman's mom, when they had the flashback scenes, she just they used like computer graphics to kind of change her up, and it just did not look good at all. And Mira, like I said, she just looks too much like Ariel, and we were just thinking that through the entire movie, and I was just like, yeah, not really a great costume. I do feel like the length of the movie could have been taken down a little bit more. That scene in Italy just felt a little bit dragged out. But then we wouldn't have had the fight with Black Manta. I mean, we could have, but bring down the scenes in Italy a little bit. And also, pacing felt very awkward at times. I do feel like it was like fast, slow, and it just was not consistent in the flow of the movie. And I just found myself really questioning, are they gonna have a consistent flow or not? Okay, now let's just get this out of the way. I do feel like the comedy is very well done in the movie. Some parts that aren't meant to be silly are silly to me. Like, this is a minor spoiler, not really gonna ruin the movie for you. There is a scene that I felt like shouldn't have been funny, but it was, and there was an octopus playing drums underwater. Like, seriously, whose idea was it to have an octopus playing drums underwater? It's like they try to bring the comic books too much into real life, and it just did not work. It didn't work for Ant-Man and the Wasp with the ant playing the drums. It definitely does not work for this movie. And another scene that I found really weird was there was a scene where they had to use a flare to get down through the water. How does that work? They even ignited a flare underwater. What? I remember looking at someone over me, I'm like, what? It was just so weird. But yeah, it is what it is. Just minor nitpicks here and there. In conclusion, I do feel like this movie was pretty good. It was definitely better than Batman vs. Superman for sure. Definitely better than Suicide Squad and Justice League. Not as good as Wonder Woman or not as good as Man of Steel. But it is a big step up from those other movies, and I do feel like that is a good thing. I do like the choice of James Wan. I just don't feel like Zack Snyder is the best director for Aquaman. Here's why. Snyder makes stuff dark. Aquaman can't be too dark of a character. It's almost like Zack Snyder directs Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or Ant-Man. It's just the two things just don't mix together. And I do feel like James Wan was a good choice, and we did get a pretty good DCU movie. First time in a while, so that's good. So I gave Aquaman a 7.7 out of 10. If you haven't seen this movie already, go ahead and go see it. If you have, make sure to comment down below what you thought. Let me know what you thought was weird or anything like that. And as always, make sure to combo that like button, subscribe today to join the herd, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining.